Welcome, welcome, welcome to another episode of Almond Delights Reading Corner by way of Mount Bentley Christian Church. Come on in, saints, can'ts, ain'ts, and wants. Welcome to this week's read of Between Pews by yours truly, Mr. James Colwell. Please go over to Amazon.com and download your books today so you can read along with us. Come on in. Sit back here with us on the back pew as we find out what they're doing up there between the pews. Let's enjoy this read. Are you ready? We've come this far by faith, leaning on the Lord, trusting in His holy word. He never failed me yet, singing no, whoa, can't turn around. We've come this far by faith. We've come this far by faith. Leaning on the Lord, trusting in His holy word. He never failed me yet, saying no, whoa, can't turn around. We've come this far by faith. Welcome to another episode of Almond Delights Reading Corner, where we will have our final read of Between Pews by James Colwell. I hope you guys are having a great evening, honey. I had to come with my Sunday's best. I don't know what was going to happen in these last two chapters of the book. So I want to be ready for a funeral, honey, or a wedding. I don't know, honey. Either one of them, the black is slimming. Okay? So if you guys have your books, I hope you guys are ready. We are going to get started. But first, let me give you a little disclaimer, honey. Heavy on a disclaimer. I don't know. There may be cussing. Even after I just sang that church song. There may be cussing. So there may be words in this book that y'all know Miss Almond Brown would not normally say. But I'm going to give you the whole essence of this book. Okay? So excuse the cuss words if they come about. Okay, but the rundown from last week, we already know Mr. Edwin, child, he got skull dragged through the parking lot of the church by a full-on crackhead with a limp. We know Pastor Pew got her head beat in by the communion tray. Nobody knew how to duck last week. Nobody. Okay, and then he met with the former secretary of Mount Bentley, Miss Bernice, honey, and she didn't have so many nice things to say about Pastor, the thug pastor, Kareem. So now we come to Edwin trying to figure out what he's going to write for his little magazine to try to help Mount Bentley raise money since, you know, the church burned down or got burnt down. We still don't know. But we are on chapter 9. We're on chapter 9 this week. So we are going to get started. Like to hear it? Here you go. Chapter 9, Not in Here. After a week and a half of quiet, Miranda and I were sharing a bottle of wine and listening to some really good music. It was the perfect Friday evening. We were both excited about going to the Gospel Music Challenge the next day at the new and improved Mount Bentley. There were soloists and choirs coming from tons of surrounding areas. I felt this would really be the turnaround for my article. It was starting to get late when we heard Miranda's doorbell ring. She looked on the visual screen and said, Oh, geez, it's Rafik. I said, just don't let him in. She said, usually I wouldn't, but I am a little horny after sitting here drinking his wine. I laughed and said, I'm out. She said, okay, baby, I'll see you in the morning. I said, in on time, 11:30 a.m. She said, I got it. As I was leaving out of her door, I passed Rafik in the hallway. I just kept moving. He said, hey, yo, I'm sorry. I rolled my eyes at him and kept going up the steps to my apartment. I wanted absolutely nothing to do with him. He didn't even look the same. The toll of the drugs was showing up. His skin was very dry looking, and the once beautiful muscle tone was disappearing. He was appearing to become thin. It really wasn't a good look. Once I got up to my apartment, I realized that I was a little tipsy. I jumped in the shower and laid myself on down. I was in a good slumber when I was awakened by the flashing lights and sirens out front. I woke up completely once I stood in the window and noticed they were in front of our complex. I threw on a robe and slippers and headed down the stairs. The hallway was filled with policemen and detectives, and there were tons of people outside. But I noticed right away Miranda's door was open and her apartment was the focus. I said to one of the policemen, where's Miranda? He said, who are you? I replied, my name is Edwin James and I live upstairs. I'm really getting worried. I'm sorry, can you tell me where my friend is? He took me by the arm and said, come with me. As he led me outside, I got a glimpse inside of Miranda's apartment. The furniture was thrown about and things were broken, but the most alarming thing was the blood that was everywhere. A tear immediately dropped from my eye as we made our way outside. I seen paramedics and ambulances, and then I seen a black body bag, ooh Jesus, on a stretcher sitting right at the back of the coroner's vehicle. I screamed out, Miranda! No, no, no! As I fell to my knees, almost knocking the policeman down that was leading me. He said, sir, please calm down. When is the last time you seen your friend? I said, just a couple of hours ago. Where is that bastard? Where is he? Did you all get him? The policeman said, who, sir? I said, his name is Rafik. He did this. I know he did this. He said, can you come with us to make a statement? I said, I sure will. You've got to get him. His crackhead ass has gone too far. Oh, God, I can't believe this is happening. I told her not to let him in. The officer loaded me into a squad car, and I was taken to the police station. After hours of sitting and questioning, I had divulged everything about the fight at church and again how I told Miranda not to let him in. The officer shared with me the body in the bag was not Miranda. It was Rafik. She had stabbed him multiple times and killed him. I immediately felt relieved, but I felt like I was in the twilight zone. They told me that she would be held and nothing would really be done until Monday morning, and they assured me that her family had been contacted. I was delivered home around 7:30 a.m. I was exhausted and tried to lie down, but I just looked at the ceiling and wondered what the hell went on down in that apartment while I was sleeping. I called Teddy at 10 a.m. and explained to him what had gone on. He was shocked. I told Teddy that I was getting off of the phone so that I could get dressed. I was going to go to the singing contest. It would be good to take my mind off of the drama. He said he would call me later to check on me. I pulled up to the new church. It was a really gorgeous church, and it was packed. I'm sure Mount Bentley would make out well with this turnout. The first person I saw when I entered was Kyle. He ran right up to me and said, Edwin, can I talk to you for a minute? I said, sure, Kyle. What's going on? He said, first off, I'm nervous. I'm doing a solo for the competition. I said, you do solos all the time. What's the issue? He replied, I'm not worried about anybody here except for this one queen that's here. I said, now, Kyle, why are you calling that young man that? He said, because she is. Look at her. All the boys are in her face with her sparkly ass shirt. I glanced over and I immediately understood where the insecurities were stemming from. I looked at what has to be the most gorgeous man I had ever seen. He stood about 5 foot 6 inches tall. His features were as pronounced as any model you've ever laid your eyes on, and skin was as smooth as any woman airbrushed in a magazine. His body was put together perfectly in all the right places, to the point you notice it with clothing on. Ultra flat stomach and perky round behind. The only way to describe him was pretty. And I mean so pretty that he almost didn't look real, like a living mannequin. I had to break my stare. I said to Kyle, well, what's his name? He said with a snotty attitude tone, Topaz. I said, Topaz? Is that a stage name? He said, no, that's his real name, Topaz Jesper. He is here with his mom and dad, and his boyfriend's parents and brother. He is representing some church near the Philadelphia area, and I hear he can really blow. I said, well, okay. The proper thing to do is to go over and introduce yourself. He may actually be a really nice person, and all this anxiety will go away. You are a very talented singer, and you know that. That is the only thing that you need to be worried about. You go up there and do what you do and represent Mount Bentley the best you can. Unless your hang-up is deeper. You are intimidated by something other than his singing ability, are you? Kyle gave me a look and said, I ain't worried about that bitch. This is my territory. Okay. I said, just a thought. Well, you are not even old enough to claim territory. Let that mess go. You are in high school. I'm sure he's in college. There is no competition, and you said he's here with his boyfriend's family. Ding, ding, ding. He has a boyfriend. End of story. Kyle said, no, it's not the end of the story. The boyfriend was murdered about 4 months ago, so she is a threat. I said, I'm done with this. You heard what I said. Go introduce yourself and then take your little butt up there and sing. And slow your roll. He rolled his eyes up in his head and said, okay. As he made his way over to the young man that was causing him all the anxiety, I noticed Pastor Kareem off to the side, and his eyes were fixed on the same person. I thought he was going to start drooling. I just shook my head and said to myself, what a mess. The competition got started right on time, and singer after singer, it just got better and better. 2 acts before Kyle was to go on, he ran over to me and said, you are right, Edwin. Topaz is so cool. He was showing me some different techniques to warm up my vocal cords. I feel bad for calling him a bitch. We exchanged numbers, and we're going to keep in touch. He sings right after me. Can you make sure you get a picture of us together, and maybe we can be in your magazine? That would be the tea. He was genuinely happy to have made a new friend. I think it was the first time I ever seen him act his age. I gave myself a pat on the back and said, sure thing, man. I'm proud of you. You did the right thing, and see what happened? We'll take a bunch of pictures if you want when this is over. I sat back and watched as it was Kyle's turn up. He took center stage of the pulpit with no nerves and went right into belting out his song. He was by far the best act that had come up so far. He really sang his heart out. His upper register was always very impressive for a male, and he had the crowd really up as he sang his lyrics. Yet, still I rise, never to give up, never to give in, against all odds. The whole time he was singing, I could see his new friend Topaz right down front, edging him on and clapping at his vocal dynamics. You could see that the positive reinforcement was doing wonders with Kyle's performance. Unlike the strange glares that he usually receives on Sundays from some of the shadier choir members and church members who are really reeked with jealousy, Kyle is clearly the best singer that Mount Bentley has. Which is why he was given the solo for this competition, so that the prize money could come back to Mount Bentley. Shady business as usual. Mount Bentley was given the function, surely they couldn't be able to compete, but that's how they operate. As Kyle ended his song on his knees, holding an impressively long note, the crowd was on their feet. You can tell in his face that he was shocked and pleased with the response. Topaz ran right out from the audience and grabbed Kyle in a congratulatory embrace. The two of them walked back to the pews, hand in hand, like they had been best friends forever. All of Topaz's family greeted him with hugs and congrats. While, as usual, Kyle's family members blended into the background like the child hadn't done anything. It was sad. He found eye contact with me in the crowd, and I gave him a thumbs up. Next up was Topaz. And from the hush and the whispers, you could tell this was a performance they were waiting for. The lights of the church glistened like new money off of his almost see-through black shirt that was covered with a scatter of tiny rhinestones, and the collar and cuffs were completely covered in stones. It was a beautiful sight, accompanied with his black, perfectly fitted slacks and Kenneth Cole loafers. Dang, you know what he wearing? There were 4 heavy-set sisters from his church standing behind him quietly in solid black dresses, with rhinestones on the collar. He started his song with no music. You could hear a pin drop on the carpet in the church when he opened his mouth, and out came the voice of an absolute angel. God, let me see. I don't know this song, so I ain't gonna sing it. God has not promised me sunshine. That's not the way it's going to be. But a little rain mixed with God's sunshine, a little pain, makes me appreciate the good times. Just then, the female background joined in. Be grateful. Be grateful. Then the band joined in, and at that time, the whole church was already standing. Topaz continued as the church flew off the handle. Folks were shouting and hollering out as he got to the end of his song. God said he would never. He motioned for the band to drop out. Did you hear what I said, church? I said, God said he would never. And then the note reminiscent of only Mariah Carey, Minnie Riperton, Philip Bailey, or one of them the Barge Boys. Never. He dropped his head as the church went into a complete chaos for about 2 minutes. He then lifted his head, held his hand up to the heavens, and with a single tear running down his cheek, he sang, never forsake you, be grateful. The church went crazy into praise for at least 10 minutes before Pastor Pearline Depew could restore order. I did see her speaking to Pastor Kareem before she took to the microphone, and they had strange looks between the two of them. I was thinking, oh geez, what now? Pastor Depew began, Saints, I beg you, let's not be taken down by Satan's tricks. He can cloud your judgment and make you feel for things that you know are not natural. Men in sparkly blouses and singing in a key higher than any woman in the church. It's just wrong, I tell you. And you need not let the devil have his own way today. I beg of you. Well, almost immediately as the words escaped her mouth, Topaz's mother and his boyfriend's mother were down at the pulpit with words for Pastor Depew. Mrs. Jesper started, How dare you? How dare you judge my son? We did not come all this way for this kind of foolishness or to have you talk down to my child. Pastor Depew didn't back down. She said, well, you call yourself a woman of God? You should have known not to present a decent church with a devil's spawn. Before she could say another word, Topaz's boyfriend mom yelled out, Forgive me, Lord, but I can't do this today. Forgive me, my Savior. And with the force of a Mack truck, she slapped Pastor Depew's face, knocking her backwards to the ground. Again, child, she just got beat up last week. The scene was broken up immediately, and they helped the pastor to her feet and sat her in a seat in the pulpit and gave her ice for her face, which was swelling fast. They sat the Jaspers and the Rudolphsons in the pews, and Pastor Kareem took to the pulpit. He began, Church, it saddens me on today that such a positive event has gone this way. And we have guests that are here from other church homes. I'm especially not happy with my members, as they know we do not uphold a spirit of homosexuality. And that is exactly what was going on here. I felt the spirit of faggotry moving throughout my church. Let me tell you something. Not in here. I will not have it in here. Y'all are supposed to be singing to the glory of the Lord. And what we got was men hugging each other like they were girlfriends meeting in the mall. Men screaming and hollering at the top of their lungs thinking they're Mariah Carey. Those of you who did these things know who you are. The prize monies for today will not be given. I appreciate all of those who participated. But the high spirit of Lucifer has taken over, and I will not distribute money, which is the root of all evil, while that spirit is in the midst. Now as for my Mount Bentley members, I have 2 members that I would like to come down front. Trevor and Kyle. I felt the emptiness in my stomach as the 2 teenagers came forth. I just knew something ugly was getting ready to happen. The 2 of them stood facing Pastor Kareem as he started back into his rant. We are only going to go over this once. This is not going to go on in here. Not in here. Men were made for women and women for men. Period. My father used to say Adam and Eve, never Adam and Steve. You 2 are young men, not girls. And if you don't understand that we can get some counseling going to clear your mind from the confusion that is homosexuality. Men and women were placed on earth by God to procreate. How is that possible with 2 men? Just look at it. It's like a puzzle. The pieces do not fit. 2 niggas hugged up ain't helping nobody. Yes, I can say it in slang too, as long as you get what I'm saying. And remember this, spit and shit don't make no baby. I almost fell over onto the floor. You can hear the gasp in the room when that last line fell from his lips. He continued on. You 2 will no longer be a part of Mount Bentley's choir as of this moment. And I will let you know when and if the time comes that you can participate again. Now kindly have a seat in the pews. Trevor broke into tears of embarrassment and hurt as he took a seat. Kyle literally stormed out of the church, and Topaz's whole group of family members followed him, and so did I. Once we were outside, I could see that Kyle was now in tears, but Mrs. Jesper and Mrs. Rudolphson were doing a great job at calming him down. I introduced myself and told them how much I appreciated all that had been done for Kyle on this day by their family. Mrs. Jesper said, "We are leaving this place, but please feel free to contact us anytime. You all will have to come up and visit us. We'd love to have you. And Edwin, please, keep lifting this young man up. Everybody needs someone in their corner. And Kyle, be good to Edwin. He is here for you." A few seconds later, 3 members of Kyle's family approached a group of us. It was his mother, his sister, and his brother, and you can tell they were not happy. His mom spoke out. "Come on here. You done embarrassed our whole family again, as usual. I'm ready to go. I'm so sick of you and everything about you." Miss Rudolphson said, "How can you feel that way about your own child? He is not an embarrassment. He is a talented young man with the potential to really make something of himself, but you must support him." His mother replied, "You keep raising yours and stay out of my business. Okay? Kyle, bring your faggot ass on." We all just stood in awe, realizing there was nothing that we can do to help him at this time. It was a very painful moment for me. I walked Topaz and his family members to their cars and seen them off, and then I started back into the church. It was high time that Pastor Kareem and I have a little chats. As I got into the sanctuary, I spotted him. I walked over to him and said, "Hey, Pastor Kareem, can I have a moment to speak with you, please?" He said, "Sure. And how's my article coming?" We started walking towards his office. I noticed that his 2 henchmen were coming as well. I said, "That's part of what I want to talk about, but I only want you. I don't want to speak with them, just you." He said, "Okay," and shooed them off, and he and I went into the office. He said, "Have a seat, sir." I sat down as he went over to the other side of his desk and sat down. He said, "So how is the article coming?" I said, "Well, that is part of what I want to talk about, But let me start first by saying, as a person who is considering joining Mount Bentley, today I was appalled. A look of confusion occupied his face. I continued, I found that whole fiasco about homosexuality and the way that the singing was done was so unnecessary. And to call those two kids out and embarrass them in front of all of those people, how could you do that? The look of confusion was now replaced with disdain, as he replied, there can only be one reason that you feel so strongly about that, and that is you must be wrecked with the spirit of homosexuality yourself, and the guilt has you here now seeking to have your soul freed. I looked at him with an intense eye contact and said, man, are you serious? Quit your playing. Have you honestly forgotten where and when we first met? He said, do tell. I said, fine then. Let's play your little game, Kareem, or should I call you Shaquem? Being as though that's what you told me your name was. Is it coming back to you now? Gay Pride, DC, a few years ago. A good night of activity, but no return calls. It was cool though. I could see the anger boiling over. It was showing all over his face. I kept going. My point is, you are a grown man. Do whatever you choose and keep your secrets. But what you did today was ridiculously hypocritical. If you are closeted, you just shouldn't preach on the subject at all. And you definitely never put anyone else on blast. Not cool. Not cool at all. He sat back very arrogantly in his chair and said, so is that I never called you back that has you so upset? I gave you the dick, faggot. What more did you want? I chuckled at him and said, really? You little closeted freak? Let me refresh your memory. It was an even exchange. I still remember the look of satisfaction all over your face when my 9.5 inches capped off deep in your guts, partner. You squealed just like one of them little sanctified cunts that you spoke of this afternoon. So drop the hard act, sweet bottoms. He jumped up from his chair and yelled, I'll have your ass kicked. I said, for real, that seems a little harsh. How about I take and bend you over in here and make your ass pulsate again? That seems to calm your nerves a bit. All you have to do is ask, Reverend, because you do have some good ass. He said, get out of my church. I said, gladly, because all the sins being committed here are a good indication as to why the former church burned completely to the ground. And the lightning bolt won't be long hitting this one. I just hope that this time you're in here when it burns. And another thing, don't think anyone is fooled by how you swindled and kept that money today. You depended on Kyle winning, but you knew that Topaz's performance was a sure win. So that whole little bit with you and Pastor Depew, your fellow ass clown, was all a put on for Mount Bentley to keep the money. People aren't as stupid as you think they are. Trust me. I thought I would get something positive to say in the article today, and it turned out like all the rest of the research I've done on Mount Bentley. Shifty and shady. There's not enough to make you or your church look good. Now I have enough dirt to write an excellent page-turning article, but you will be left standing in your truth. And you aren't looking good. He said, get the fuck out. And I mean now. And if you print one thing in that magazine, I will sue you until there isn't a magazine anymore. I said, oh, are you going to take me to court for undercover Bible-toting cocksuckers who live a constant lie? Well, praise God. He said, you have 2 seconds and I swear I'm going to have you fucked up, you bitch. I said, okay, I'm going. And rest your heels for now, queen. A story like yours deserves a much wider audience than my little magazine. You take care of yourself, Pastor, and oh, yeah, see you in court. I burst into laughter as I exited his office. Whoop. And see. We're going to take a brief intermission, but y'all don't go nowhere. I'm going to let y'all know where y'all at right now. So sit tight. You in that back pew back there. Get off your phone. Pay attention to the word. Welcome, welcome, welcome to another episode of Almond Delights Reading Corner by way of Mount Bentley Christian Church. Come on in, saints, can'ts, ain'ts, and wants. Welcome to this week's read of Between Pews by yours truly, Mr. James Colwell. Please go over to Amazon.com and download your books today so you can read along with us. No, come on in. Sit back here with us on the back pew as we find out what they doing up there between the pews. Let's enjoy this read. Are you ready? Come on in the room. Come on in the room. Jesus is my doctor. He writes out all of my prescriptions. He gives me all of my medicine. In the room, you better come on in the room. Come on in the room. Jesus is my doctor. Hey, he writes out all of my prescriptions. He gives me all of my medicine. In the room. Hey, in the room. Oh, honey, listen, Pastor the Pew need to learn how to duck. Everybody keep hitting this lady. She better learn how to fight. Carrying on. Okay. Chapter 10, Standing in Your Truth. 3 months had gone by since I had seen Miranda, and I had butterflies in my stomach on this morning, the morning of her trial for killing Rafiq. I haven't been permitted to see her because I'm being called to testify. It really sucks. I miss her and have been really worried about her. Her family has been really nice in keeping me informed of her well-being, and they're all here in Pittsburgh. They had a caravan of about 30 folks that drove down from New Orleans for the trial today. My brother Teddy also drove in from Maryland to be with me, and having Teddy around always makes things easier for me. Today is also a big day for me. It is the release date of my new book. I told my publisher that I had to go to court, but I will be able to get the text message for any news. And on the way to court, Teddy and I discussed the book. He was laughing at all the crazy things that were in the book. I always send him an advanced manuscript before I release anything. He said he absolutely loved it. Then he said to me, I am a little nervous though, Eddie Jimmy. What's going to happen if that bastard really tries to sue you? I said, oh, trust me. He is a money hound, so he will definitely try to sue. But I released the book as a work of fiction. I changed some things and changed all the names and places, so he will lose the case. But it will be nice to see him tell his own truth by trying to fight. It is like an admission of guilt. What an asshole. But he is going to burn in hell chasing after a $5 bill. He is just greedy. We laughed as we parked the car in Macy's parking lot. I said if this all turns out well, I'm going to stop back through here and buy Miranda something nice. I know she's sick of that jumpsuit. You know how she is. Teddy laughed and said, I know how you both are. Way too much alike, even the same taste in men. I said, you shut your mouth. She doesn't know about that, and I would take it to my grave. That would hurt her, and I would not do that. Ever. As we took our seat, it was refreshing to see all the familiar faces from Mount Bentley that showed up to support Miranda, including Pastor Kareem. I hadn't seen him since our little argument. It seems that Rafiq really did have a pretty large family, and a lot of them showed up as well. Once court got started, it was pretty intense. As soon as they brought Miranda in, you can hear the unrest of Rafiq's family members. At the sight of her, tears began to roll down my face. She was crying as well when she saw the outpouring of support for her in the courtroom. I was called to the stand pretty early on for questioning. It wasn't really too bad. I just told that I knew he and Miranda had a thing going on since right after I moved to town, and that I had seen him coming and going from her place frequently over the last few months. And then I told the story of him dragging her from the church and how forceful he was, and when I stepped in, how he beat me up. I hated to tell that part because I never told Teddy about that, and as I went back to my seat, I could see the anger in his face. He said, "Oh, we'll talk. I told you that I would hurt him." I said, "Shh. I know, Teddy. That's why I didn't say anything." Next was the moment of truth. It was what I had been waiting for all these months. What happened in the apartment while I was sleeping right upstairs. Miranda took the stand, and they asked her to explain what happened on the night that she killed Rafik. She took a deep breath and she started. "I was having wine and listening to music with Edwin when Rafik came to the door. Edwin told me not to answer him, but I didn't listen. Edwin didn't want to have anything to do with Rafik after the fight at the church, so he left. Rafik came into the apartment and it was cool at first, and then he started up with his mood swings and asking me for money. I told him that I didn't appreciate nor would I contribute to what had now become a bad habit." Rafik's lawyer interrupted her. "And what habit would that be, Miss Moran?" She continued. "He had become a crack addict." The lawyer yelled out, "That's hearsay." The judge yelled, "Overruled. Crack cocaine was found in his system. It is stated in the toxicology report. Continue, Miss Moran." She cleared her throat and continued. "From there, the argument just got worse. He started in on me about my pastor. He kept saying, 'You fucking whore, get some money from the church.' I kept telling him he was crazy, but he wouldn't let it go. This was not the first time that he had brought it up. He had devised a whole plan of how I was going to blackmail my pastor. I maintained that I would never deal in any way like that." The lawyer broke in again and said, "Miss Moran, who is your pastor, and is he here today?" She responded, "Pastor Kareem Bentley, and yes, he's present in the courtroom." He responded, "Were you or had you at any time carried on an affair with this pastor?" She sat quietly for a few moments. The judge said, "Answer the question, please." She said, "I'm so sorry. Yes, I have." You can hear gasps and chatter throughout the courtroom. The judge slammed his gavel and said, "Order!" Miranda started back on her testimony. It was about 12:30 a.m. and I asked Rafik to leave, and he wouldn't. He just started screaming, "You fucking that nigga and can't get a penny out of him? You are truly useless." I told him that was it. I had had enough and to get his ass out of my house, and he yelled back, "Fuck you, bitch. I'll go when I'm ready." I then told him, "I'm going to call the police and have him removed." I reached over and grabbed my cordless phone. He snatched the phone off of me and hit me in the nose with it 2 times, and you can see in my x-rays he broke my nose in 2 places between the beating with the phone and the repeated punches that followed. I tried to run, but he grabbed me by my hair and slammed me backwards on top of my glass coffee table. The glass shattered and cut my legs in 6 places, and multiple ones on my back as well. He then dragged me by my hair to the kitchen, and the whole time he kept telling me he was going to slit my throat. She broke down into tears as she continued. His eyes were dancing in his head, and it was like I didn't see Rafik anymore. I just saw a madman, and I knew I had to fight for my life. He took me and slammed my head against the counter by the sink repeatedly. I lost track of how many times my head was slammed against it. I felt like I was going to black out until I seen the blade of the knife glistening in the light. I felt him stab me in my shoulder twice, and after that my body was numb. I didn't even feel the knife cut in my hands as I struggled to get it off of him. He still had my hair with one hand, and as we tussled, he dropped the knife. When he bent over to pick it up, I lunged into his crotch with my head and bit into it. He had on sweatpants, so I was able to get a good bite, and I locked down on him until he screamed out, "You better do that!" Okay. Then I grabbed the knife and I stabbed him until he stopped moving. I called the police and told them what happened, and I sat there with the knife until they arrived. I really didn't know he was dead. I wouldn't even take my eyes off of him until I heard the police. They actually had to kick in the door because I was too scared to go and open it. The lawyer said, "So you're telling the court that you stabbed him until he stopped moving? Miss Miranda, are you saying it took you to stab him 27 times before he stopped moving?" She responded, "Sir, have you ever been in a fight for your life?" He said, "Objection. I don't see the relevance of her question." Miranda said, "The relevance is, would you have been counting or cutting me?" I kept cutting. He said, "No further questions, Your Honor. I believe she is a cold-blooded killer." The judge said, "Watch it. I didn't ask you for your judgment call." He said, "I apologize, Your Honor." The judge then asked, "Is there anything further you would like to share, Miss Miranda?" Miranda sat up straight in her chair and said, "Yes, sir. I have to be very honest here. Not because I'm under oath, but because I know it is wrong to take a life. I had no other choice in the matter. One of us was not going to walk away from this. But what I have to be honest about is, up until last week, I was having a hard time sleeping. All I could see when I closed my eyes is visions of Rafik and the good times we had, and then him laying in a pool of blood. The images were haunting me. Then last week I went to have a physical done and found out that I am HIV positive. And the virus was also found in his toxicology report. So you see, I don't have the nightmares anymore, and I don't feel as bad as I did at first for killing Rafik, because he killed me first." And with that, she dropped her head. You can hear a pin drop in that courtroom. The judge called for a 1-hour recess, and the silence never broke as the courtroom cleared out. After checking on Miranda's family, Teddy and I decided to go grab a bite to eat at Primati Bro's sandwich shop in the base of Macy's parking lot. I had been telling Teddy about their famous Reuben sandwiches. On the walk over to the restaurant, Teddy asked, "How's your health, little man?" I said, "Teddy, I'm cool. My last test was a week ago, and I was negative, and of course I will keep getting tested. But I have never done any sexual act unprotected with Rafik. I am confident that I'm cool." He said, "You better be. Ew. I could dig that nigga up and kill him again. I told you I just had a bad feeling about that dude just from the first time you mentioned him." I said, "And speaking of, you came in contact with Miranda." He said, "I've been tested since then, but I'm going to get another one. But it was just head, but you can't be too careful. I hope she gets off. She shouldn't have to serve any time for a piece of shit dude like this." Just then I got a text message from my publisher that said, "Grab a New York Times." We grabbed one on the way back up to the courthouse, and there it was, as big as day. Between Pews by Edwin James, debuting number 2 on New York Times bestseller list. I was ecstatic, but the celebration was cut short. The butterflies remained in my stomach for my friend as we entered the courthouse. We got back into the courtroom and took our seats. Both lawyers gave closing statements. Miranda's lawyer went first. She stood and said, "To this court today I have presented my client. In this classic case of a woman who fell for a guy who took the wrong road in life, and when she wouldn't follow along, he turned on her. But in this situation, he turned to a rage and tried to take her life. She fought back and made it out alive. Is that a crime? I don't think so. The only crime here is that she didn't come out unharmed. She came out with a life sentence that not even this court could appoint. A life as a person living with the HIV virus. I believe my client is innocent and in no way deserves to serve 2 life sentences at the hands of the same attacker. Thank you." Next was Rafik's lawyer. Today we have seen a woman who had multiple sex partners and got tangled up in her own web of deceit. She knew that my client was a bit of a hothead, a bad boy if you will, but she willingly engaged in the physicality that brought him to this point. Their fights just got worse and worse. The authorities were never contacted, which says to me that she was a willing participant, and this time, things got out of hand. And when she saw the opportunity, she killed my client in cold blood. She used excessive force to kill, not to stop the attack, but to kill. Thank you. We sat as the judge went back into his quarters for about 30 minutes, and when he came back, he said, "I'm ready to rule. In the case of Rafik Jerry versus Miranda Moran, I find the defendant, Miranda Moran, not guilty due to self-defense and temporary insanity." Cheers erupted in the courtroom, with such relief was felt. But on the other side, it was just the opposite for Rafik's family. It was odd, because actually there were no winners when it comes to murder. There never is. As Teddy and I stood for a moment, collecting our thoughts on the front steps of the courthouse, up walks Pastor Kareem and his two goons. He arrogantly said, "This was a good day in court for our sister. You might as well get ready for your day. I don't think your verdict will be so favorable." Teddy erupted, "Man, go ahead with that bullshit." I said, "No, Teddy, it's okay. I will see you in whatever court you would like to see me in." He replied, "I hope you sell enough of your little books, because it's going to cost you." I said, "Oh, you didn't hear? You're getting all the publicity that you asked for. Grab a New York Times. I got you that wide audience I promised. The book debuted at #2, so I'm sure the coins will be lovely. But how will yours hold up? Or will you set fire to your new church to sustain your lifestyle? But you have bigger fish to fry, don't you? You need to go be tested and see if you can save your marriage. You're wasting time talking to me, and who knows, your days may be numbered, kind sir." From where I sit, I think I'm winning. And hell, you give me more than enough material to write a sequel. You and your antics are going to make me a very rich man. He just stood there gritting his teeth and said, "Fuck you, faggot." I laughed and said, "Fuck me? What you trying to do, Pastor? Kill me?" Trust me, you and I would not get together, not even on your best day. However many that is that you have left. Good luck to you. The end. Hey, that is the end of Between Pews by Mr. James Colwell. Listen, I have to take a drink for that. This is Sparkling Rose. Let me show y'all, honey. This ain't no Welch's. Listen, we got to take a drink to Between Pews. Just think about this being communion wine. Ooh, I am outdone, honey. I am outdone. See, all that hunching that Pastor Kareem was doing, and we already know it was probably unprotected with a bunch of them heathens. And now look what happened. Rafik done gave Miranda HIV, and Miranda done slept with the pastor. And he worried about the book. He worried about the book. You got bigger things to worry about, honey. You worry about a whole book, and this man done sat around here. This lady done sat around here and slept with every Tom, Dick, and Harry and pastor. Baby, I am outdone. As usual, I am going to drop the link if you guys want to come up and discuss what it is that we've read or discuss the whole book. What was your favorite parts? What did you learn from the book, honey? Have you done anything between the pews? Let's hope not. But if you have, honey, no judgment. No judgment. That's your business. That's your business. Look, she's talking about I added some Ciroc. Lord, don't you dare spread that narrative. Miranda and Pastor were a mess, but at the end of the day, Pastor Kareem got exactly what he had coming to him. Okay? Keep your thing in your pants. I learned not to attend services at Bentley. Okay, which one? The one that was burnt down? Because it seemed like it got worse at the new one. All the stuff that came out. Oh, thank you, child. Listen, I had to be ready for a funeral or a wedding. I didn't know what I was going to, so I just wanted to be ready. I wanted to be ready just in case Jesus came, honey. I had to be cute. But yes, I really enjoyed this book. It did not end the way I thought it was, especially with the whole, Miranda contracted HIV, and I thought that Rafiq did kill Miranda. Cause this man was a whole crackhead. He crazy. Look, and Pastor Depew do need to learn to duck. Baby girl got hit in the head with a communion tray last week. Then she got beat up this week. But listen, we can't forget that Edwin got beat up too now. Edwin don't know how to duck neither. He got drugged out there in the church parking lot, right along with Miranda. But they won in the end. So violence is never the answer. It's never the answer. I'm not promoting violence, but I'm going to say you better fight for your life if you're ever in that situation. Okay? Don't wait for no police. You better fight and then call. Great job. I've enjoyed the whole readings. I decided to come down from the choir stand. Come on now on this finale. This is my favorite of his books, and you did my friend well. Yes, Lady Nika, thank you for joining us. I appreciate y'all for dropping down out the choir stand. This was a whole hoot, but guess what? So we got another treat for y'all for next week. So we not gonna stop. We're not gonna stop. Oh, hold on real quick. Look, you over there cheesing. I didn't even see you pop up in the back. Hi, hold on. Let me put my headphones on. Wait a minute. I got to take my hat off so I can hear you. Hold on. Hi.
Hey.
How's it going?
Good. Well,
how did you enjoy the reading?
Girl, you did fantastic.
Well, thank you.
The whole way through. And I just decided to drop in today.
Thank you for dropping today.
At the end, I came like the last part of the court. I came in. I was like, let me drop one down here and see where they at right now.
Oh, see, it didn't hurt you now, did it?
Look, I was done when I pulled you up and seen the hat. I said, no, she's not dressed for the funeral.
You see me? So you understood. Not even knowing that it was going to be a funeral for real.
Okay.
I had to be ready. I had to dress the part. So, I was ready for whatever occasion. Be you ready so you don't have to get ready. Stay ready. But I really did enjoy this book, and it was some twists and turns with the whole Rafiq and the now Rafiq turned into a whole crackhead. I was not. Why did he have to be a crackhead?
Because they do that. Because it happens. It really does happen.
You're right.
It's very easy for people to get. They think they got control over that. Honey, crack will break your back, honey.
Oh, crack is whack. Ain't that what Whitney said? But it will destroy you if you don't get. Well, I ain't gonna say get it under control. Don't even do it.
Yeah, you can't get it under control. Everybody thinks that they could. Crack wears people out.
Yeah.
It wears them out. Ain't no getting it under control.
And we see what he told her to try to set the pastor up, so it had to take control of his soul. It wasn't even.
He was on one. Well, yeah. That's the thing. Crackheads, for some reason, that crack, it makes them very fertile. And it also makes them they get real creative.
Oh, Lord.
Their foolishness. They get real creative.
Yeah.
So, it's just be that way, child.
Yeah, but they get real strong.
No bad.
The crackheads get real strong, but like you said, and creative, because they pull the crackheads off the street to go fix a car.
Exactly.
They can function. They still can function.
Lift the car, child.
Give them not lift the car. She said the best line in the book was, "You can't make a baby with spit and listen." I was all done with that one too. You have some liners in here, but that miss
go, honey. I was nice in this book, child.
Lord, listen, but I'm ready because I got my next one. We got
Seen
Love
your
and
cameo, right?
Topaz.
You all seen your cameo appearance, right?
Li-
From
I
Topaz,
seen
his
it.
family members.
Yes, I paused when I saw the name. I was like, oh Lord, here we go. I already, I already know it's about to be a
Cameo.
mess. It's gonna be a mess. But this is the next book for next week. We're not even gonna take no break. We just gonna keep it going. I want y'all to be engaged, so y'all can go get y'all book, Love and Topaz. That would be the next one. This is another novella by Mr. James Colwell. I
Well,
appreciate you for allowing me to read your book on my platform.
no problem. No problem. No
Yeah.
problem. Yeah, Love and Topaz. Ooh.
Oh Lord. Do I need to clutch my invisible pearls or
Yes,
my okay.
absolutely. Yes. And I know
Again.
I was late. I've been so busy. I haven't got the pictures. I will get the pictures to you of some of the places. Those places that are real. Carmi's is actually a real restaurant that my girlfriend owns. Um, Flossie's hair salon. I actually really did work at Flossie's hair salon.
Is Miss Bernice a real was she a real person?
No, Miss Bernice is not real.
So
But
who was
the
real in the book?
hairdresser, the lady that owns the salon, that personality is very much Danny. My
Okay.
boss, her name is Danny. Her and her mom loved the book. Her and her mom loved the book. Um, Carmi, her name is Carlene, the lady that owns Carmi's. She loved the book because I didn't tell any of them that they were part of the book. I just wrote the book, and then when the book was done, I was like, "Here,
Oh Lord.
okay." And Trudy, who was actually Topaz's mom, that I have an actual friend named Trudy for real. She's named after my girlfriend Trudy. So some of those things, Permani Brothers, I did a video where I actually ate. I did the mukbang on
So it's
Permani
still
Brothers.
open? They're still
Yeah,
open?
oh, there's like maybe 4 or 5 Permani Brothers around in
Oh,
Pittsburgh.
okay.
It's a big thing in Pittsburgh. So that's a real place. Um, of course, the stadium and the Three Rivers Casino, and you can Google those things. They're all yeah, one casino, 2 stadiums, and the 7-Eleven, all that stuff. It's all right there for real, just like it says it in the book. It's in those real spots. What else did I put in there? I was real vague about the church situation because there were like 3 churches that actually did burn to the ground
Oh Lord.
in my area.
Was
And
it insurance fraud?
the one church that they thought I was talking about, because people never could figure out which one I was talking about. One church actually did have one church burned, and then another church burned a few years later. And there was,
Coincidence?
I did that on purpose to sell books.
We know it happens for real, but they didn't want to be put out, so
Right. So I don't know nothing about none of what you're talking about.
I don't
So,
know either, child.
but yeah, but Mal Bentley, I made that name up, and I actually Googled and searched and all of that to make certain that it really was a fictional name.
Right.
Right now, where you're getting ready to go, I'll just give y'all this, and then I'm getting down off your platform and let you finish up with your people. Where y'all going next week?
Oh Lord.
That was the first book that I ever wrote. Is Love and Topaz. I wrote that book in 14 days.
Oh wow.
I wrote that whole book, everything, edited, written, designed the cover, all of that, all in 14 days. Every situation that you come across in that book is very much real, but it's not all my story.
Okay.
I'll say that's not all my story. I sold a lot of books in my neighborhood because people was like, "Oh my God, Shaq is telling this whole story." And I never actually wrote my story for years later, which was Boys Like Me, but I had them geared up. So by the time I came out with Boys Like Me, people was like,
They already ready. Let me get that one. Let me see.
right? I'm like, that's not me. But everything in that book actually did happen. Some things I kind of like, boosted up just a little. But each situation is a real situation. I either was at it, very close to it, or it actually did happen to me. So every situation that is like so outlandish, every last situation actually did happen. Yes.
Did anybody ever ask you after you wrote your first book for you to put them in your books?
No, they were like, please don't. Please don't. I have people from boys like me that still don't speak to me.
Really?
Family members, mad as hell. I mean, mad as heck.
Listen, after all what I just did.
Angry, honey. But I'm like, listen, sue me.
Oh, Lord.
If you find a lie, sue me.
And then you're going to have to defend your lie. Then you got to bring all your nastiness out.
Every last one of those books, all 5, are listed right over here at the Library of Congress in D.C. I told no lies. You know, I ain't sitting around publishing no lie. I told them, come for me.
Nobody did. You're still.
Yeah, I had one actual sit down with a person that said, we need to talk. And I said, let's talk. I said,
was it that bad? Oh, Lord.
When you read Boys Like Me.
Yeah.
Come on and sit down. I said, but you don't really want to have that sit down. Shh. They left my house in tears. I mean, what are we talking about?
Oh, Lord.
You did it. Now you're
I was about to say.
So whatever.
They did it, but it was your experience, and you're able to tell your story. So
I told my story, and that's the whole thing with my family. I told, just let it be what it is. I told my story, and only story I told of anybody else's is when they stepped into my lane. Said, you don't want to push the issue, because see, if I go back, I could change some names and really tell the story of the Colwell family, and that'll be a bestseller.
Oh, Lord.
But to this point, I've never told the story of the family. I just told my story. So,
do you plan on ever writing another book? Okay.
About me?
About whatever, just another book.
Well, I have like 5. I have 5 books that are...
I know, I'm saying, do you plan on ever writing another one? Like, do you want to write another book? Or are you in the works of writing
I'm in the works. I have 5 books I have 5 that are done.
Right.
I have 5 books that are literally chapters from being done.
Oh, okay.
That are already, like I started writing and stopped and started and stopped. I have like 5 books that are literally, I just need to sit down and finish. Oh, okay. And I really would like to finish them. That's like one of my goals for 2021 is to get all 5 done.
Okay, so now I can poke at you. Finish that book. Just like I do Uncle Tim. Where your book at? Where your book? Right. You talking about writing. Where's your book? Where's your book?
My mom's been doing it. There's one book that I have that's a book called Mama Do, and my mother has been like, when? Years. I'm going to get it done. But that is one of the goals for the year.
One book or all 5 of them?
All 5. That's my goal is to finish all 5.
All 5. Okay.
By the time the year wraps, I want to wrap on all. I want them all to be available on Amazon by the time the year wraps.
That's dope.
2021 wraps. And it just doesn't make no sense if they're not. Y'all can cuss me out.
I ain't going to cuss you, but I'm going to be poking at you. So, you're going to finish. But one last question. How does it feel to see your book being read aloud? I know people read your book, but is this your first time seeing it actually being read aloud?
In real time, yeah.
I ain't talking about that other stuff, child. Not that. Not those.
No, I mean, just no. Like somebody really like reading to try to see if they like it or don't like it. Yeah, I mean, I've had clients like when I was doing hair and stuff. Like that was weird when I would have like clients like they're sitting under the dryer and they're reading my book, and then they're like hollering at me from the dryer, and I'm like, shut up. But just to actually be able to, it's been like a voyeur type of thing, like watching you all. That's why I always would say I'm not coming in. I'll come afterwards. You know what I mean? And I'll see it in the playback. But yeah, it was weird watching you finish up today. I was like, ooh. But, yeah.
Well, I really did enjoy reading your book aloud. So yeah, I wasn't ready after Boys Like Me, but I guess that kind of geared me up to a little bit.
Well, the thing is, and that's the thing where I got a little nervous because like down here on the YouTube streets, people have done the whole Boys Like Me thing. They've attacked the book. People who are beefing with me have grabbed the book to try to find things to fight me with. So it was I got a little nervous because now this time with this is like you all came in to actually see what I actually do as far as the creative side. So this is like my creativity this time.
Right.
My life is my life.
Right.
If this is what it is, like it, lick it, or love it, my life is my life. Between Pews is all from here. So that's when it's like, okay, the whole creative thing and the whole constructive criticism thing and that kind of thing falls into place. So I got a little nervous with that. I'm nervous about you reading Boys Like Me, child. I am who I am. I didn't think that. I'm just who I am.
Right.
But yeah, so it was a little nerve-wracking, but it didn't seem too bad. Nobody said nothing really mean.
No, you got through it. Yeah. I got through it. You're unscathed.
I've gotten bad reviews from people before, so I mean that's fine. But it's not like being on YouTube. People are vocal on YouTube.
Yeah,
they vocal like, "Child, that shit is trash."
But it wasn't though. Like
nobody did that. But I mean,
it really could happen. But everybody seems to love it, and a lot of people already had the book. Some people bought the books or whatnot as we go along. So that was dope.
Angela is right. Yes, watching you is hilarious. Now I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to take the back when it comes to Love and Topaz because I'm excited to see your face. Like literally, like from the gate, starting out chapter 1. I'm just waiting to see your face.
Oh Lord! 15
minutes in, I'm just waiting. Like,
Lord, you doing this? I'm gonna be like,
stop, buddy. So it's gonna be interesting. You're gonna be funny.
Listen, I'm gonna bring it. I'm gonna bring it just like I do with all the other books that I read. I'm gonna try to put my all in my into the book
and cover yourself.
Oh, I need to put on the higher turtleneck. Jesus, it's hot. Yeah, I'm sweating. I need to pull this thing on, child. Ooh.
Thank you, Esther. Yeah, it's a little deep. So y'all come wrapped in the whole armor.
The whole armor. Oh Lord, the breastplate of righteousness. Lord, we got to be covered in the front and the back all the way around.
Yeah.
But
so it's very interesting. But I appreciate it. So thank you.
You're welcome, and I appreciate you for allowing me to read your book out loud on here.
Listen, y'all, have at it.
I will see you in the streets, but I'm gonna see you next week for our next read.
Surely, Annie. Sure, I gotta go back and watch the beginning of the video.
Oh, you will like it, honey. How I started the video. So.
And it's been so long, and that's the other thing too, because there's stuff I forgot. Like as you were reading it.
Mm. Really?
I look at the date that I wrote that book.
It was 2013, wasn't it? What?
I think this was 21 now. I am 49. Because that's what people saying that they want me to write a part 2 to that, and I'm like.
That will be. Listen, I'm telling you, a part 2 just to see where Miranda ended, where she ends up, what Pastor Kareem does.
Has that. Everything I write will always have an opening.
Okay.
That's how I write. And I think if you're good, you should. If
you
really believe in it, you need to leave an opening if you have to go back in.
Listen, that's going to be. Yeah, I can see a part 2 between Pews, child. Between Pews or on the pulpit.
What panel I was on? I almost said something.
Okay, well, don't say it then.
Yeah,
you can email it to me. You ain't got to say it out loud. You can just let me know.
Right with the opening. I always leave breadcrumbs.
Lord, she said I was enjoying cursing.
Enjoying cursing, Jay.
Listen, I clutched.
Blame it on me, honey. Blame it on me.
The first time I cussed, you was like, "Oh, I was waiting on it." But you was like, I'm so sorry.
Yeah, child, blame it on me. Say it's my fault. Treat me like Chrisette Michelle.
Listen, but you see what it said at the bottom? It said, disclaimer, child, there will be
Right.
cussing.
And you going to need it going forth, honey. Going forth.
Oh, Lord, I need somebody else to hold me. Oh, she said on the pulpit. Oh, that would be a good title.
Okay, child.
Ooh, okay, look.
I
Okay, Shantae, girl, look.
I've had a lot of people that like, you got to do part 2 stuff. Who knows?
Oh, who knows? You can add number 6 since you know you wrote it in 14 days. This one.
Oh no, that ain't never gonna happen again. Mama Topaz was 14 days. The next one took 3 months, child.
Well, that's still not. That's still a good. That's not long.
Good turnaround.
Mm-hmm.
And then I've been on hiatus for years, so
yeah,
I was really rolling at one point. I was rolling, and then.
Well, now you have a lot of time between 2013 and now. You know, it's a lot of things that have happened in your life. So
True.
You know,
that boys like me, I could do a whole nother piece to that because I've lived so much.
Oh, a man like me. Okay.
Yeah.
Instead of boys like me, a man like me.
Yeah, you know, I had a whole cancer journey, a whole cancer battle, and all of that stuff since I wrote Boys Like Me.
Yeah.
I've had a ton of stuff happen since that. I could definitely write another book.
Yeah, a man like me, men like me, all kind of stuff, you know.
So, boy, but I just keep going where I was. Boys still like me.
Oh,
and on that.
Come on now, that might listen. Don't tell me.
Child.
I feel like that was one of your titles, but I ain't gonna say that.
Boys like me, or is it boys like me? I'm like both.
Boys still. I like that one.
Boys still like me.
Mm-hmm. I like that. Oh, and see, look, that could be on the front of your book instead of your baby picture. You know, you can.
Right.
Come
So I
on,
put it at the bottom, honey. You're gonna do part 3, and I like it. I'm out of here.
Yes.
Terrible. I'm out of here. Thank y'all. Wow, thank you, Almond.
Thank you.
I love you, honey. And that book is that I always said that Between Pews can be done as a play. Very
yes,
easy.
it can.
Hey, look, I make the boys come to child. Theo, you should talk. Look at that face.
Came right on over here. Okay.
Baby, you talking about make the boys come to the yard? People be breaking that gate off trying to get at Theo, honey. But that's the way it is. He already. But yeah, so yeah.
I'm proud of you, honey. I'm ready for them 5 books.
Things to be made into a play very easily.
So
very easily, it can be made into a play, like a stage play.
Mm-hmm.
I can see that being a stage play.
I can see it too.
I don't know where we get booked at with all them bad words, honey, but
somewhere over the rainbow. We'll find a place.
Where there's a will, there's a way. Honey.
Yes, and we got to build a stage outside, just like Dave Chappelle did his stand-up comedy out the door.
Right.
Okay. So, well, you got time. You know, the pandemic might be done slim down a little bit. So,
listen, I've been locked in this house, child. Listen, I'm out of here. I'll see you in the streets, sis.
Yeah.
His baby picture looks so innocent. Now look, just cutting.
Just cutting up, honey.
Well, you should have seen me a year after that picture.
Oh, Lord, he was a little hellion. Lord, where is Mama Colwell?
Somewhere in the bushes, honey.
Hey, Mama.
I'm out of here. Bye, baby.
Bye. Thank you for coming up.
Absolutely.
Y'all, I appreciate him for coming up. Hold on real quick. I was looking for something. Hold on. I had to get back in my costume, honey, because I don't think nobody else coming up. If anybody else wants to come up, I'm going to drop the link one more time. Hold on real quick. So yes, if anybody else wants to come up, oh, she said she gonna call Tyler Perry tonight, James. She gonna call Tyler. Oh, you know he got all them studios up there in Atlanta. She said, Holy Land, yes, Shantae. What for what? Yes, I really enjoyed it. Listen, if you guys enjoyed this book, if you have not read it from the beginning, if you have not listened to it from the beginning, you can go back. It'll be a playlist dedicated to this book. You can also check it out on my podcast. I upload the audio version over there, so if you're on the go in your car, whatever, you want to hook it up to your speakers and you want to listen to it, you can also listen to it over there. And it's the whole, whatever we're listening to now, is all of it is there, so you'll get the whole conversation. Next week, we will be doing Loving Topaz, a novella by James Colwell. So yes, what for one year. Next week, we will be doing Loving Topaz. So if you guys have not gotten this book, please go over to Amazon.com and look up James Colwell, and you will be able to purchase the book. They have the Kindle version. If you have Kindle Unlimited, it is $0 for you to download it on your Kindle or your Kindle app. Otherwise, I think it's like $5.99 on the Kindle, and the book is $14.99 or $15.99. But when I tell y'all it's worth it, so this book is getting added to my collection of books from Mr. Colwell and also Mr. Timothy Blaine. I've also read his book, The Epiphany. So if you want to hear that, you can also go check out the playlist on my channel. You'll be able to see that. And boys like me, listen, I'm gonna need y'all to go listen to that. Okay? I'm gonna need y'all to go listen to that. Okay? I'm telling y'all, you will enjoy it. But we have gotten down to the church announcements. Thank everybody for being up there in the choir stand, and for the ones that dropped down in the congregation, meaning the clouds and the chat box. If you have not subscribed to Almond Brown 09, why? You've gotten to the end of the video. Why? Go ahead and subscribe to my channel and hit that notification bell so you can receive all my notifications when I upload or when I go live. I do random uploads. There's not a specific time except for my Mondays when I do my reads at the Almond Delights Reading Corner. Please, 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 if you have any of the Topaz books, do not start reading until we come back to the corner, okay? Because I want everybody to read it together so we can all get the same reaction. If you have not, if you haven't read it, I know some people already have the book and they have already read the book, but it don't hurt for you to listen to it and see it be brought to life, and we can reread the book for you guys. I don't read the books before I come on, so that way when I read the book, you get my true reaction to the book. So I do not read the books, and we try to do at least 2 chapters a week depending on how long the chapters are. Normally we go for 45 minutes to an hour. Today was special because it was the final read of Between Pews, so of course we went a little longer, but that was awesome. And if you guys know of any other authors, thank you, James. If you guys know of any other authors, you can get in contact with them or have them contact me to see if they want their book to be read aloud on YouTube as well. I'm not asking them for anything. I buy the book myself. I purchased the book myself. Well, no, this book here was actually purchased by one of my Almond Delights. They actually gifted me the funds to purchase this book. Sure did. So I appreciate you, my Almond Delight, for doing that. You didn't have to do it, but you did, and I appreciate you. It was a great book. Thank you, y'all, for joining me. And if you have not subscribed to my podcast, please go over to anchor.fm/almondbrown09, where I upload my reads, and I also have other different subjects that I talk about over there. If you have any subjects that you would like for me to speak on my podcast, or even here on YouTube, email me at almondbrown09@gmail.com. I'm on Instagram. You can DM me there too. Somebody said something about Novella, Spanish for novel. Oh yes, I know. I had the Spanish channel growing up. So, although I did not understand what they said, you know. Oh my God, oh, a week is so far away. You better not read that book. But I want to thank you guys for joining me. I really had a great time tonight. Oh, and I think I saw a super sticker. Thank you, Miss Shadia, for my super sticker. I want to thank everybody for subscribing to my channel. You know, the Almond Delights, we're growing. We're over 1,500 Almond Delights now. You know, and so we've reached our monetization point. So the channel is now monetized, although I did not monetize this video because I'm reading someone else's work. So that the channel, this video itself, YouTube ain't monetized, but if somebody was to bless me with something, I can't stop that. It just is what it is. But I thank you guys for joining me. I'm gonna go now. Otherwise, I will keep on rambling. Y'all know how I do. But it was one more thing I had to say. Oh, drop your sun and your chocolate emojis in the chat for me and for yourselves, the Almond Delights. And for those of you that are just joining us and you don't know what the chocolate and the sun emojis represent, it represents love. That's what I promote over here, love and light to everybody. So if you see each other out in the streets, honey, it's okay to talk to each other. Hit it with a chocolate and the sun emoji, and that lets everybody know, you know, you just showing love. So I appreciate y'all. I appreciate everybody who shared my video. Thank you for those that jumped down here in the congregation that normally stays up there in the choir stand. I appreciate you guys. Look at all that. Oh, you just showing some love. Ooh. I love you, Lord, and I lift my voice to worship you. Oh, my soul, rejoice. Take joy, my King, in what you hear. Let it be a sweet, sweet sound in your ear. I love you guys with the love of God, and there is what? Nothing you can do about it. Shout out to my armor bearers, Shadia and B Scales 1214. I love you guys to life. I love my sisters, everybody that dropped down here. I love my brothers, everybody that came and joined me. I love y'all. Y'all have a good night. Okay? See y'all next week. Thank you all for joining another episode of Almond Delights Reading Corner. I pray that you enjoyed yourself and you're relaxing your mind, in your body, and in your spirit. Come back and join us again next week as we continue our reading. If you haven't subscribed, please do so. Be blessed and enjoy your evening.